Have you ever tried to change someone's mind about a politician, shown them a fact, a clip, a headline, and watched it do absolutely nothing? Not because they didn't see it. They saw it. They just didn't care. That's not stupidity, and it's not stubbornness either. It's one of the most studied patterns in political psychology, and once you understand it, you'll never look at an election the same way again.
Here's the thing most people get wrong about political loyalty. They assume it's about facts. Person A shows person B evidence. Person B updates their opinion. That's how it's supposed to work. Except that's almost never what actually happens, and it's not unique to any one party or any one country. This exact pattern shows up with Trump supporters in the US, with Bolsonaro supporters in Brazil, with Le Pen supporters in France, with Modi supporters in India. Different leaders, different continents, same psychology underneath. So today, we're breaking down what's actually going on in the brain when political loyalty refuses to bend. Let's start with the biggest driver, because it explains more than people expect. Political scientist Alan Abramowitz calls it negative partisanship. The idea is simple but uncomfortable. A huge number of voters aren't voting for their side anymore, they're voting against the other side. Loyalty isn't built on agreeing with every policy, it's built on fear of the alternative winning. Once fear becomes the foundation, facts about your own side barely register, because the question was never, is my side right? The question became, which side is less terrifying? That single shift changes everything about how a brain processes political information.
Second mechanism, Yale researcher Dan Kahan calls it identity protective cognition. Here's the key insight. For a lot of people, political affiliation isn't just an opinion, it's identity. It's who their family is, who their friends are, what community they belong to. When facts threaten that affiliation, the brain doesn't experience it as, I might be wrong about a policy. It experiences it as, my community might be under attack. So the brain does what it's built to do. It protects the group first, and it protects the truth a distant second. This isn't a character flaw. Every single human brain is wired to protect group identity. It's just usually invisible until you watch it happen in the political arena, where the stakes feel enormous.
Third mechanism, and this one's more personal than people expect. Researchers Mark Hetherington and Jonathan Weiler identified something they call authoritarian disposition. It's not an insult, it's a measurable psychological trait present in every population that predicts how much someone values order, tradition, and clear rules versus openness and change. People higher on this trait tend to feel genuinely threatened by rapid social change, and they respond strongly to leaders who promise to restore a version of stability, even if that promise is more symbolic than literal. This trait alone predicts voting behavior better than income or even education level in study after study. It's not about intelligence, it's about what a person's nervous system finds threatening versus reassuring.
Now, here's the twist that ties it all together. None of these three mechanisms require the leader's actual policies to make sense to the outside observer. Negative partisanship means people are voting against fear, not for logic. Identity protection means facts feel like attacks on your community, not information. And authoritarian disposition means some voters aren't evaluating policy details at all. They're responding to a feeling of stability versus chaos. So when you watch someone stay loyal through decisions that look confusing from the outside, you're not watching someone fail to think. You're watching three separate psychological systems, fear, identity, and threat response, all pulling in the exact same direction at the exact same time.
So what does this actually mean? Political loyalty was never primarily a debate happening in the logical part of the brain. It's happening in the parts of the brain built for survival, belonging, and threat detection. That's true on every side of the political spectrum, in every country that's ever studied this. Nobody is immune to it, including you, including me. The people you disagree with aren't operating a broken brain. They're operating the exact same brain you are, just responding to different fears and different loyalties. Here's the practical part. Next time you're tempted to explain a political disagreement with, they're just not smart enough to see it, try a different question instead. What fear or what group loyalty might actually be running underneath this? That question won't always change anyone's mind, but it will get you a lot closer to understanding what's actually happening than facts alone ever will. If this changed how you think about political arguments, even a little, let me know in the comments. And if you want a deep dive on any of these three mechanisms specifically, negative partisanship, identity protection, or authoritarian disposition, tell me which one. Subscribe if you want to see where this series goes next. See you in the next one.